Hey everybody, what's up? Startup Survival here, and today I'm going to be looking at the Cold Steel Recon 1 and the Code 4. Just this year, I believe Cold Steel has started to come out with this new steel here in their knives, CTS XHP focus. And this is a very good quality steel. As far as I understand it, it's comparable to S30V. I've only had it for a few weeks now, so I haven't really tested it hard yet. But as you can see behind you, I've got some cardboard boxes here, so I'm actually going to go hardcore on these things afterwards, and I'm going to do a head-to-head with the AUS 8 versus the CTS XHP. But for me, the Recon 1 is a little too big. I've had this knife for probably 2 years now, and I like it. I think it's a beautiful knife and very well designed, good materials, all that stuff. And if I was going to go camping or something like that, I may consider taking this knife for sure. It is quite sizable, and that's the reason why I don't carry it all that much, because I just don't need that much knife every day. Usually I'll go for something a little smaller. And maybe that's where the Cold Steel Code 4 comes in, because you still get that triad lock and you get the same blade shape, or very similar anyways. It's just kind of a Recon 1 that's been put in the shrinking machine, and it's a lot thinner, actually. That's another thing to keep in mind. So I would say this is much more friendly for EDC, but still on the large size for a lot of people. The blade size is actually 3.5 inches versus 4 on the Recon 1. Let me just hold those up for a second so you can see them really close together. The tip on the Recon 1 is sharper. That's what I say. Let me put this up against each other so you can see. That top part of it there is almost completely sliced off on the Recon 1. So it's like they could have sliced it right there where you see the grind line and made it a much sharper tip, but they decided not to. They decided to make it a thicker blade. So it is a chubby, thicker little blade, but I still think that's a beautiful grind on there. 4-inch blade versus 3.5. So that takes it into the large category, whereas I would call that sort of a medium to large size, but much more friendly for most people. This is 9 3/8 in total, so it has a 5 3/8 handle, a very large handle there that I think is going to suit anyone with larger hands. This one is an 8.5-inch total carry length, and I believe the handle is going to be 4 inches on it. It still feels, or sorry, 5 inches, and it still feels like a great handle, but like that blade is a little bit stubbier, and I think that'll work better for people. So the blade length is about 13% less on the Code 4 than it is on the Recon 1. The total length is about 10% less. So it does make a little bit of a difference, but where you save the most is on the weight. The Recon 1 is 5.2 ounces, and this one is 4.3, so you save almost 20% on the weight. And really not a huge reduction in size. So they've definitely made it more efficient. And where I think that comes in, or where they found the savings of weight, obviously there's less metal in the blade, there's a 1/2 inch less metal, but it's in the handle, I think, and in the thickness of the knife. You can see that that aluminum handle is so much thinner than the G10. Right? So if you're going to do a ton of work or anticipate a lot of hard use, I do think this will be more comfortable because it's more hand filling with that thickness. The G10's a little warmer, and for anyone with larger hands, I'd say you get a little bit more handle material there to work with. It's definitely a bigger knife overall, therefore making it more capable, right? But this feels good too. The only thing is you don't get traction on the aluminum. It's very slick. The jimping on the back is pretty much equal, but ergonomically it does feel very good, even though it is thin. So when it comes to carrying, no doubt that this smaller overall knife and thinner knife will carry better. And for use, I still think it's very good, but we're going to find out later with the extended cutting test. I think I would prefer this one though for heavy use. I think I would. And as far as batoning and like extreme use and things like that go, let's just say a word about that. Bigger blade length is good. And also I think that the AUS 8 steel is maybe tougher or maybe more prone to rolling or slight deformation, whereas this one might chip or break. I've actually seen a picture of a Code 4 broken right down here, like a vertical, just snapping it off under high stress because somebody was batoning it, and this steel is not meant to be batoned. Maybe AUS 8 is not either, but I do know they make fixed blades out of AUS 8 on quite a regular basis, and CTS XHP, I'm not so sure about that. So there's that. Let's just say a word about the steel now, because that's what I'm going to be testing right after this. Is AUS 8 is what we have in the Recon 1, and that's the original steel that Cold Steel's been using for a very, very long time. I think it's good quality. I've had very good experience with it. No complaints whatsoever. The good thing about it is it's very easy to resharpen, so you can get that sort of killer edge back on there. I'll just demonstrate that on the paper here, a couple of quick cuts. CTS XHP has a higher Rockwell hardness. It's 58, 59 for the AUS-8, and apparently CTS XHP can go up to 64. So it can be a very, very hard steel. I found that after resharpening this for the first time, I was able to sharpen it quite easily. And it's very sharp. They're as sharp as I can make them. I just got them off the Sharp Maker earlier this morning, and they're able to slice paper very freely. So what I'm actually going to do now is I'm going to go and do a head-to-head test of these two knives. And I've got a whole bunch of cardboard here. I've got those two boxes. I've got some extra pizza boxes down there just as leftovers. And then I have one more box right there. And I'll just see which one loses the edge soonest. And I know that's not very scientific, but we'll see what happens. We'll see if it really does make a difference between the two knives. So stay tuned, and I'm just going to do a whole bunch of cutting now, and I'll record my results and let you know what I find.